I think what's working is posting a lot. So I think you do have to post. Why a high volume? And I think it's because there is so many different accounts.
I'm Becca Poutney, wedding business marketing expert, speaker and blogger, and you're listening to the Wedding Pros Who Are Ready to Grow podcast. I'm here to share with you actionable tips, strategies and real life examples to help you take your wedding business to the next level. If you are an ambitious wedding business owner that wants to take your passion and use it to build a profitable, sustainable business doing what you love, then you're in the right place. Let's get going with today's episode.
Today, I'm chatting with Simona about all things content. I first started working with Simona back in March when I was looking for additional support, and she's been working as my content creator ever since. I'm sure many of you have heard her name or even seen her appear in my social media videos, but today you're actually going to get to hear from her directly. Simona, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
I am thrilled to have you on here. I've made you do many things since you've been working with me, and this is another new one for you being on the podcast. But we have to start by talking about the moment that you experienced with me very recently when we won the award, because many people have heard both you and me scream very loudly in that moment. So just for everyone listening who didn't experience that, tell us about it from your perspective.
So I think when the countdown started and it went through the bronze winner and then it went to the silver winner and then we were like, oh, it's not Becca. And then I said to you, it's going to be you, it's going to be you, it's going to be you. And then you were like, no, it's not, no, it's not. And then as soon as we just heard wed, I don't think that he even finished the sentence. It was just wed. And then it was just like hysterical screaming. And then it felt like it went in seconds. The whole journey of traveling downstairs on the underground and going outside, then inside, it felt like it was like a dream, like we were levitating. And then you got your award. We took the pictures and it was like, oh my God, like what actually happened? It was such a surreal moment.
It was a really surreal moment. And you're right, it did feel like we were levitating, because there was one point just before we went on the stage where this lady said to us all, don't fall down the step, don't fall down the step. And we just carried on. And then we went back later in the evening and stood by that step. And we all thought that it was like a flat piece of ground when we'd run up to the stage. And actually, when we went back later in the evening, it was a massive step that we'd gone down.
I know, it was like a proper big step. But I think that because we were just like running, we must have just like all missed it. So that was good.
Yes, it was a great moment. I'm glad that you were there to experience it with me. I wouldn't have wanted to go through all of that emotion on my own. And because you were there, it meant we've now got that iconic video that people keep talking to me about with us screaming and running down the stairs. And if anyone hasn't seen that, do go and have a look at it on my social media, because it is funny. It's racked up quite a few views now, but yeah, I'm glad you were there to capture that moment. Anyway, enough about me and my podcast award win. Let's talk a little bit more about you. I'd love for people to hear a bit more about your own background. So take me back to the moment when you finished full-time education before you had kids. What was your first thing that you did work-wise?
So I went straight into the hospitality industry. I started working in the restaurant business and I worked my way up to become an operational manager. I did that for 2 years. We had 4 or 5 different locations. I had like 40 staff members at one point. So it was more like training the staff, making sure we've had like the right location, doing all of the social media, literally everything business related. And then I had my first daughter in 2022 and I had nice 6 months fully paid off. And when that finished, I was like, I don't really think I want to go back. And during that time, during my like 6 week, when she was like 6 weeks old, I decided to join TikTok. I was like a newly mom. I didn't really have anything else to do. And I wanted to just like connect with other mums. So I started posting on TikTok, started posting on like Instagram, and I grew like a little community. I think we got up to like 15K, 20K. And then, I handed in my resignation and I was like, right, now I have to actually make money. And the way that I did this is I was working with brands. So I would do content creation for them, doing paid ads. And then after that, it was just me posting my everyday life and it just got bigger and bigger. And then when my daughter was 1 year old, she suffered quite like a horrific accident. So her whole face was accidentally burnt by a cup of coffee. So then we decided, instead of making it like a really bad thing, I wanted to use it to actually educate other parents. So then we worked with the NHS, with BBC and ITV News, and we raised £700 for the burn awareness charities. Like we did a lot of, so I raised £700 for the hospital, and then we did a lot of burn awareness for the charities as well. So I did manage to, help a lot of parents. I mean, I think in total, the campaign reached around 20 million people. So it was a great, like it was very educational. And then I had my second daughter in January of this year. So she's 9 months old now. And then I met you 6 weeks later, basically. And then the rest is history. And here we are.
And here we are today. Let me go back to your TikTok days before the moment that you met me, because I know this is something people ask you about a lot. So I'm going to ask you about it as well. Because for a while in that interim period, you were making money from TikTok. And I think people don't really understand how that works, how people actually make money from TikTok. So was it just because you had lots of views? Was it because brands were paying you? Was it a mixture of everything?
So it's like a mixture of both. So TikTok will pay you directly if you have over 10,000 followers and if you have over 100,000 views per month. Now, back when I was doing it, you did get paid quite a good amount. So it was like £1.20 for every 1,000 views. So if you had like a viral video, you could get like £400 or £500, sometimes even like £1,000. And this was just for one singular video. Recently, it has all changed and the RPM has dropped down to like 15p, 20p. So a lot of people are really struggling in terms of the aspect of getting paid directly from TikTok. But you can get paid using paid sound. So it's like if you're going to use someone's sound, then like you get paid £50, £100. But then a lot of the payment will be from the brand deals. So if I have a brand reach out to me saying, we're going to send you this, are you able to like do this like campaign? They're then going to pay for the usage to actually use that video on Facebook, Instagram, billboard, TV. They can use it wherever they want. And that is like the big money. And then I guess the third option is UGC, which is you're making, start again. And then obviously got the third option, which is UGC, which is where you're making content, but you're not sharing it on your platform. It goes directly to the business and then they have all rights. So yes, those are the three ways that like you can make money on TikTok.
I think a lot of people just think, I don't understand this secret world of TikTok. Obviously, you really tapped into it when it was in a good moment, when they were paying well. You did grow your audience quite significantly, I think up to about 60,000 on TikTok, right?
I think on TikTok we're at 64 and then Facebook we're on 12,000 and then Instagram is on 5,000 last time I checked.
So huge numbers compared to my little TikTok with my 600 or whatever it is followers, but it's growing. It's a work in progress. And it's good to hear. And I can see that you've done huge amounts of stuff. And I love going back and looking at some of those videos that you made, particularly the burns ones. Actually, I think they're phenomenal. And I think it's amazing that you took something so awful and turned it into something really great and turned it into something that others could learn from. And just to kind of conclude that point, in case people are worrying, your daughter is beautiful and absolutely fine now, isn't she?
Yes. Everything's all healed and she's completely fine now.
Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, let's come on then to more of the present day. As you said, we met. So let's talk about that, because what happened was I basically just went on our village Facebook page where we live and I put out something that I needed someone to make some graphics, I think it was, or some photos for something I was doing. And a bunch of people came back to me, but you came back to me really quick. So what was it about that moment, about that post on the Facebook group that made you think, I know, I'd like to be interested in this?
I have no clue. I honestly don't know what it was. I just think I was like, oh, this is very local. Like I'm not going to have to go far. It could be something that I can do like 1 or 2 hours a week. It could be fun. And then I went on your page and then I was like, oh, I can definitely do something here. Like this is like really fun. And then I saw everyone was sending you comments, but I was like, I'm going to email her. So then I just sent you an email.
You did. Well, good job you did, because most of the other people I still haven't even messaged back because I got overwhelmed with people commenting and contacting me. But what you sent me really stood out, and we met and it became apparent to me very quickly that actually your skills, I could see immediately your skills, although you'd come to me about this little graphic that I needed doing, actually you had skills in other areas. And it coincided with my own awakening, I suppose, to the world of TikTok, because I'd gone to, again, locally to us, to the school to go and do this careers fair. And I'd set up my stand all about being self-employed. And I was very proud about my Instagram following. And these kids, time after time after time, who were like 9 and 10, 11 and 12, were really unimpressed by my Instagram and just kept saying to me, yeah, but what about TikTok, miss? What about TikTok? And I was like, don't look at my TikTok. It's awful. And it just made me think, I know they're really young, but actually I'm teaching it all the time. I'm talking about the next generation. I'm talking about TikTok. I need to start getting onto this train. So I guess the worlds collided, the stars aligned, whatever you want to say. And you were in that moment where you're thinking, I need to do some work. I met you and thought you could help me solve my worries about TikTok. And so that's what happened. So I basically said to you, you can have free reign. I will basically do whatever you want me to do for the first month, and then we'll review it and see what happens. And so that's what we did. And almost immediately, the feedback from people saying to me, I keep seeing your videos everywhere. Every time I go onto social media, Becca, it's you. I keep seeing your videos. Your content's really changed. I really like your new content. And it really blew my mind how visible, or how much more visible, I became so quickly, both on Instagram and TikTok. Because I knew I was fairly visible, but I think the amount of content we were able to produce together because you were helping me was so much over and above anything I could possibly do myself, because it's so time consuming. So you came to work with me. After that first month, I went, yeah, we're going to keep on doing this. That's absolutely fine. And we started working on Project Becca, as I've coined it. So I said to you, do whatever you want. Talk us through kind of how it's been working, what you've been doing with my account from that testing phase up to now.
So the first, I would say 6 to 8 weeks, it was more like, we're going to post everything. We're going to post short videos, longer videos, talking videos, voiceovers, B-rolls, and we're going to just post about every single topic. And it's just so that we have a lot of data, because you were posting, but you weren't posting enough. So we didn't really have any data on what time are people going to be watching you, what kind of content are people going to be enjoying. So the first 6 to 8 weeks, it was just more about gathering all of the data. And then once we had the data, we then started to make series. And I think the series, I think the actual series are working the best. So this month we're doing our ghosting series, which I think everyone is loving, because we're doing something different, which is skit. And that is working really well. And then obviously we've got our next few months coming up as well. And our December content, which is going to be really amazing, because Christmas time. But I think it was just, so we got so we had the 6 weeks period where it was just testing. And then once we found out what is working, we just replicated it. But then we made sure that we had a theme every single month.
And that is that's been really interesting for me as well, because I don't have the time myself to dive into the data, to look at the figures, to know what's working. And even the way that we've seen that my Instagram audience respond very differently to my TikTok audience, for example, has been fascinating. So for example, we decided to start videoing the podcasts and putting the podcast out as video clips. And we tried it on both TikTok and Instagram, but people on Instagram weren't really loving the clips as much. They liked them every now and again, but it didn't really work. Whereas we found on TikTok, they were working really well, almost to the point we can do 2 or 3 clips a day if we want to, and they still do really well. I don't know why that is. Do you have any theories about why people like it over there and not on the other way?
So I think because Instagram is more of a social media, whereas in TikTok is more like a search engine. So I think because on your podcast we're speaking about something very specific, TikTok's able to then categorize it a lot better. And I just think a lot of people are posting podcasts on TikTok, when Instagram is more about photos and their everyday life. It's not really too much businessy related.
Yeah. And the other thing we found was that on Instagram, it was very different. So people love the behind the scenes on Instagram. They like the day in the life on Instagram. They like being nosy, basically, and we decided it was probably because most of the people on Instagram already know me. They already follow me. They're already kind of part of my world. They've heard me speak. Whereas on TikTok, I was reaching brand new people who weren't really ready to see all that behind the scenes stuff, but wanted to just learn, or I guess understand why they should listen to me in the first place.
Yeah, I think so.
I think one of the other challenges we found doing my accounts is it's actually really difficult to grow my accounts. And I remember you saying to me, it'd be much easier if you were talking to people getting married, because there's a lot more of them. So what have been some of the challenges in terms of trying to reach the right people with my content?
I mean, I think when I initially did the research and I was like, how many wedding businesses are there actually in the UK? And I think it was only 8,000. So if let's say we have a video which does 1,000, that's literally we're meeting 1/8 of the whole wedding business population in the UK. But then if you were a wedding talking to a couple, there's millions, when it's you talking to other businesses, it's such a small niche. So I think that has been the the hardest thing is like you're not having to look at the actual numbers, because even though the numbers can like seem small, it is still big in the actual industry. And then I think also if we do get a viral video, it sometimes ends up in another country, and then we're getting comments from a different country and we're like, oh, we didn't want to target you, we wanted to target this country. So I think like you do want videos to like do well, but then you don't want them to go viral and then go viral in a different country. So I think those two are your two main challenges.
And I think looking at it like that actually is really helpful, because as a percentage of the industry, it's a large percentage and those numbers can feel low. But actually, as we discuss a lot, it doesn't matter if they're low, because we know that they're the right people. Because when people on the whole do comment or share or like or follow, they are other business owners, which obviously is exactly what we're trying to target. So we tested the model. We saw that it was working. We could see how much time I was getting back in my business because you were doing the content. We could see that the content was leading to visibility. And we could also see that actually it was working for me, even in the difficult circumstances of having the niche. And so we started to have conversations where we were like, how much better would it be if we were helping wedding businesses with this? Because actually they've got much bigger audience and they've got much more people, but they maybe don't always have the budget to pay someone to come and actually film their content. So we were discussing backwards and forwards about how we would do that. And we decided the best way we could do it was to do some kind of training, to do some kind of course. So that's why we came up with the idea of doing TikTok Pro. So again, I threw you in the deep end and I said, I know what you should do that you've never done before. You should just run an online course for wedding suppliers about how to use TikTok. I'll do it alongside you to start with and just give you that supporting hand to say it's going to be okay. It was a bit of a shot in the dark in that we didn't really know how it was going to land. You didn't know how it was going to go. And actually, it was a brilliant experience. The people that went through it, I think we had about 20 students that went through it the first time. I think it was a great learning curve for both of us, but actually it was an amazing group of people who've done really well for it. So when they joined the course at the start, where would you say they were at in terms of their TikTok knowledge?
I mean, some people didn't even know how to change their profile picture. So I think we're talking very, very basic. And then they were able to create videos, they were able to create carousels, they were able to find hashtags, they were able to research. So it's like someone who's never even touched TikTok is now creating a TikTok audience. And yes, it can be a small audience, but it's nothing compared to what like they had before.
Which proved to us that anyone could do TikTok, right? Because one of the big things that people are resistant to in the wedding industry is, I'm too old for TikTok, I don't understand TikTok, I'm not cool enough, I don't want to dance, all of the things we hear all of the time. And yet I'm throwing the stats at them. Couples are on TikTok. Couples are looking for their wedding suppliers on TikTok and they're feeling afraid. But actually what we proved in the first round of the course was, yeah, you can come and know basically nothing. There were some people who had a bit more knowledge, some people who'd done a few different things on their accounts. But actually we can walk you step by step and help you and guide you and help you feel confident, even if you're at the very beginning of that journey. So obviously we've had a few months now where people have been doing their content. What do you think you've learned about what works for the wedding businesses on TikTok? So we've talked about the challenges that I face with my content, but obviously the content that they're creating is going to be very different. So what's working from a wedding business perspective?
I think what's working is posting a lot. So I think you do have to post. Why a high volume? And I think it's because there is so many different accounts. So I think you need to really do something different, which is posting a lot more. And like, also think if like you share your personal story at the same time as sharing your business, I think that is also going to relate and it's going to make couples want to book with you, just because you're not just like a random business. They can actually see you and then they're going to feel like they actually know you. But in terms of the challenges, yeah, so I just think it is like the volume. It's like you do need to post a lot and it can be competitive, but then again, there's a lot more people to catch. There's a lot more people getting married.
And I think some of the other challenges, particularly for the individuals, were just having the confidence, having the knowledge, having the skill and the belief in themselves that they could actually do it and put themselves out there. I think there was a lot of resistance to start with about putting their faces on camera, or, you know, they wanted to just put photos to music, and actually that just didn't work. And I remember you saying, well, you can do that, but it won't work. And it didn't. The post flopped. Whereas the posts that were doing well were when people were natural and putting their face in front of the camera, or showing the behind the scenes, or doing a carousel and being becoming very real. And so I think there's those hurdles to overcome as well. But what's been really encouraging to me is even the people who are really resistant at the beginning have gone on and become slightly less resistant and are what they call themselves TikTok converts. So they came in really sort of like, we're going to learn about it, but we don't know if we're going to do it. And now they're thinking, actually, we can see the opportunity here. So let's talk about the opportunity of TikTok then, because I've been talking about it from stage. I've been talking about how often couples now are going to the platform and using it in their wedding planning, and that we can't sleep on it. We need to pay attention to it. You're obviously of a generation that loves TikTok and uses TikTok a lot. So what do you think the opportunity is for the business owner who's not currently on TikTok and is thinking about it?
I think the opportunity is literally endless, and TikTok isn't a social media. TikTok is a search engine, which means if someone is searching wedding venues in St. Albans, you're going to appear on there. And if you have a good, solid account, it's going to be the first video there, which means they're going to then click on it. Then they're going to look on your page, and then they're going to see all of your amazing work. But then if you do not have an account, and if someone searches again wedding venues in St. Albans and there's not a single venue, then they're going to be like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And they're then going to go onto Instagram, which means if you're not then posting on Instagram as well, they're then going to just have to go to Google. And I just think, I don't really use Google to like search for things. So I don't think my generation is going to be using Google a lot to search for stuff. And I think we are typing in on TikTok, make me a pasta, make me a chicken sandwich, and everything shows there. Like, I don't really search for stuff in Google anymore. It will be searching on TikTok because TikTok is a search engine.
Yeah, and this absolutely blows my mind because I never use TikTok as a search engine. And I know that many people listening are also thinking, well, I never use it as a search engine. But we know that people do. So talk to me then. How do you then personally use it? Would you shop on it? Would you look for services? If you wanted a florist or a new dress, are you looking for that on TikTok? What are you searching?
Yeah, everything. So I needed a new dress. So I typed in best dresses to wear to a event. And then I was looking at them, whichever one I liked. I was like, perfect. And sometimes you can even buy it from TikTok directly. So then you just click shop and then it arrives. We were just doing our weekly food shop. So I was like, what should we cook? And I was like, 7. And yeah, so then I just typed in 7 easy dinner ideas and I just saved them. So I think if I was getting married, I would just say wedding dresses in Bedfordshire, wedding venues in Oxfordshire, and then I would just look at them. And I think it's just because like you actually see a video when normally if you're searching on like Google, you can't actually see it. And I think because like we are a generation where we need to see it straight away, that's why it's working. It's because as soon as you type it in, you can actually see it, which means then you feel it, and then that is when you're going to want it.
And you save it. Do you go back to your saved videos?
I do sometimes. I have them in categories.
You have them in categories. Okay, this is next level. I didn't even know you could categorize a saved video on TikTok.
Yes, I've got like a food one, shopping one, places I want to go.
I'm feeling enlightened about how people are using this. So I'm imagining then if they are planning a wedding, they may be saving videos into some kind of folder or keeping it organized for themselves for their wedding planning.
Yeah, so I have seen a lot of brides have actually started TikTok accounts, and it's like Megan, I'm getting married in 2027, and it's, you know, her like, and it's literally just her saving videos, sharing videos, and just talking about her favorite wedding business accounts. So I definitely think there is a huge market, and I think because now a lot of people are actually sharing their like journey into. A lot of people are now sharing their like journey into becoming married and planning the actual wedding online, which means that they're then going to want to tag you. And then if you haven't got an account, how are they going to tag you?
Okay, I'm hearing it loud and clear. They want to see you on TikTok. Now, there'll be people on here listening who have dabbled, as I would say, with TikTok, a bit like I was when I first met you. So I had an account, I'd done a few videos, some of them had done okay. I wasn't posting consistently. And I think there's probably a lot of people listening who are a bit like that. So they think they're doing okay, but they're not really actually doing anything consistent. So what are some of the mistakes you're seeing that wedding businesses are making when they're trying to do TikTok, but they don't really know what they're doing?
Okay, so I think the first one is the way that you show up. Like, you need to have very good lighting. You can't be in a dark room. You also need to not have any pauses because the you've only got 3 seconds, which means if you're going to be like, hello, people have already scrolled past. So like you've only got 3 seconds to jump and grab their attention. So like you have to do like a hand movement, you have to shake, like, you have to like shake your phone. You have to do something that's going to make people stop scrolling. The next thing I would say is the consistency. So it's like if they have a really good wedding day, they're going to post it every single day, and then they're going to go quiet for like a whole month. And then it's like the algorithm is like, oh yeah, you're posting. And then obviously you've stopped posting. And then the algorithm is like, well, we're not going to now reward you if you start posting again, because like you're not posting one day, you're posting the next day. So I just think you need to be consistent, even if it's not every single day. If it's, let's say, I'm going to post every Monday and Wednesday, at least TikTok is then going to say, okay, this person is going to be consistent, but it's just not going to be every single day. Yeah. So I think those are my 2 things, which is making sure that you've got some kind of consistency and making sure that you hook them in straight away.
I think taking out the pauses has been, again, a real eye-opener for me, because generally I speak reasonably well on video. I hope it's part of what I do. I speak well on this podcast, but actually even with my videos, you chop out all the gaps, and it does make it so much more watchable and so much more for people that don't speak all of the time. Sometimes you say, these people are speaking too slow, Becca, to me, and I'm having to speed them up. And so it's getting that information across really short, really snappy. And I just don't think people take the time to even consider editing out their own pauses or their own breath. I certainly never did before you started doing it for me. And I think a lot of people are just, it is slow and it is boring, and then people don't watch, they just scroll past.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've heard about the mistakes. The other thing I want to touch on just for a small moment is the more negative sides of TikTok. So I know that one of the things people are scared about the platform is that you are opening yourself up, you are going on the For You page, and so all sorts of people can find you, and people are scared about that. They're scared about getting the comments, they're scared about the trolls. Have you had that yourself in the past, and how have you dealt with it?
So I think having a personal account, you are subjected to a lot more hate, just because people can then hate on like you instead of hating on the actual business. So yes, I have experienced quite a good portion of hate, and I just don't really feel like it gets to me anymore, because they're not going to say it to my face, and you can just block them, report them. And it is just a comment, and it's someone having a really bad day. And most of the time, if someone is leaving a hate comment, it just means that they're just not educated about like the topic, just because they just do not really understand it. So every time I have gotten hate, I would be like, okay, this person doesn't seem to understand a certain topic. So instead of thinking it in like a negative way, make it positive and turn it into an opportunity to actually educate them.
And we did that, didn't we, with one of my hate comments that I got. I haven't had loads, or if I have, you've deleted them before I've seen them, which I'm very thankful for. So please continue to do that. But the one that I did see was this guy called Keith, I think he was called, one day out of nowhere just commented on my account saying, why should I listen to you, you useless bint, or something ridiculous like that. And I had a look at his account, and he looked like an old guy, and I just assumed he was probably a troll or a bot account. But I remember saying it to you and saying, oh, I've got this comment, I don't know what to do about it, let's reply to it. And so we actually did a reply video to the comment where I basically made fun of the comment and just said, yeah, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about, and Keith does, so he obviously has all of these things. And we then posted it, and people thought it was hilarious in the wedding industry who knew me, and they all kind of got behind it. It wasn't horrible, it was just kind of poking fun. But Keith got really upset about it, and then I think he genuinely was a real person, because he messaged to say that his granddaughter's friends had seen it and they were saying things. And so deep down, I hope that Keith learned a lesson, but I did then go ahead and block him before he could contact me anymore. So I do think sometimes you have to see the funny side of it. I think sometimes doing a reply to it, facing it head on, is better. But also what you're saying about just understanding it's someone having a bad day, or it's not a real account, and just moving on from it. And it doesn't happen a lot. For the people that have been doing TikTok from our course, I don't think they've had a lot of hate comments at all, have they?
I don't think so. I think the only person which got a little bit of hate was Ruth, when she made her controversial video on here is how like to say no to having children at a wedding. And some people were a bit upset about it. But then I just told her, but it's fine. Like if they don't want to have children, they don't want to. And if someone does. Like, don't like, I don't think it was a lot of hate. It was just people having heated discussions in the comments.
Yeah. And again, that all helps the engagement. And what was nice about it from Ruth's perspective is she was being quite neutral. And we should be like that generally as a business owner. We don't want to be too polarizing and trying to upset people because we're trying to appeal to different kinds of people. And actually, she was just giving tips. She wasn't saying, I don't think you should have children at a wedding, or I do think. She didn't really have an opinion. It was only the people in the comments having the opinion. And actually, it just meant that more people saw her post, and her post did incredibly well. So actually, the hate turned into something pretty good for her. So we are starting TikTok Pro again. So you obviously didn't hate it too much that I threw you under the bus and made you do the course. You thrived, you did really well, and you saw the results people had. So we've decided we are going to do it again starting in November. So if someone's listening and thinking, actually, I am interested in this, I think I can see where Simona's coming from, I think I probably should be on TikTok, I probably don't understand it, I didn't realize I needed to cut out the pauses, and they decide to join, just briefly walk us through like what they're going to learn along the way. Not in detail, obviously, but just give us an overview.
Okay, so it's a 4-week course, and then you're also going to get some Facebook support, which everyone loved the Facebook support. We're going to start by going through your bio, your profile, making sure that it is searchable. Then we're going to go through your content pillars, the content mix. So I'm going to show you all of the content pillars, the content types, videos, text. Then we're going to go through your niche and see what is working. I'll show you how to actually do TikTok research and how to actually find gaps in the market. Then I'll show you how to film a video, how to edit a video, how to actually use TikTok, how to use CapCut. And then I will teach you how to bulk make content, which, as scary as it sounds, it is the best hack, where you just spend 1 or 2 days just filming, and then you just edit it all in one go. And then you've got 30 days worth of content, and it only takes you a couple of days.
Amazing. That is a lot of information. And there was a huge amount of information that you cover over the course of those 4 weeks. So it's going to take place every Thursday in November. We're going to be doing it at 1:30 p.m. UK time live for an hour. But if you can't make that time because you're based elsewhere in the world, or you just can't do a particular Thursday, don't panic, because all of the calls will be recorded and you'll get all of the replays as well. So don't let that put you off. If you can make that time live, do come and join us. It's always fun to have you there. Alongside that, there's also the Facebook group, as you mentioned, that's going to be open for 6 weeks in the first instance. And what was great last time, and I'm sure you'll do it again, is in there, people, when they started to make content, were posting it, and you were able to give them feedback. So you were live saying to them, don't do this, make the text bigger, really helpful feedback to show them live whilst they were going through the course how they could do things better. So there is that support in there as well. And the other thing you've done, and I know that you are talking about maybe doing even more of this time, is some filmed, edited tutorials about how to actually edit the content, how to use programs like CapCut, how to do simple things like do a voiceover. How do you actually physically do that on the app?
Yep. So we're going to go through everything. So I'm going to be doing voiceover videos, how to use CapCut, how to use TikTok's tools, which I think having all of that, which is already there and ready, will just make it a lot easier for everyone who wants to take part.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is helpful for people to be able to watch that on their computer screen, have their phone open, and literally see, this is the button I click to do this. This is how I slice. This is how I overlay a video, because sometimes the tools themselves are what confuses people. So basically, for 6 weeks, they have your support. They can ask your questions in the Facebook group. We'll be showing up as well with them to answer those questions, review their content. And so the people that get the most out of it, I would say, from the last time, are the people that did the most within the time, because the more you put into it yourself, the more content you created, the more feedback they could get from you. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. And every week I also gave everyone homework. So I think that people which actually have done their homework and then they sent it to me to then look at and then send back are actually the people which have done really well. And I think it is because they actually did week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then afterwards they did all of the recommended videos as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is worth throwing yourself into it. But equally, you do get access to all the video content ongoing as part of the price of the course. So after those 6 weeks are up, the Facebook group support may not be ongoing. However, you will still be able to watch back all of the videos, catch up with all the tutorials. You get long-term access to that as well. So if someone is listening to this, Simona, and thinking, Should I do TikTok Pro? Is it for me? Should I even bother with TikTok? What would you say to them?
What is the worst that's going to happen? I mean, if you do it and it doesn't work out, you've not lost anything. Like, you've not realistically lost much. Yeah, but then if you do it and it does work, then you're going to be gaining a lot of bookings and hopefully a lot of couples.
And increase visibility as well on a platform that's only going to grow. Many people have listened to Ruth's podcast that came out a couple of weeks ago. If you are listening and you haven't listened to her interview all about TikTok and how she's grown her account, do go back and listen to that episode. But just tell us some of the other success stories, because it wasn't just Ruth on the last course that saw success. There was different success. So, for example, Caroline, who specializes in her black and gothic wedding dresses. How did she succeed on the course?
So I think Caroline was focusing on two very different parts. So I think she also wanted to do dress alterations, and then also she wanted to do the gothic ones. And I just said to her, I think you should just pick one, because as soon as she targeted one kind of couple, it just seemed to grow. I mean, she's now got over 1,000 followers. All of her videos are doing really well. She's getting lots of comments, a lot of engagement. And I feel like she's actually enjoying the platform as well now.
Yeah, she definitely is. And what's been really amazing for her is she finds it really difficult to find the people that are interested in what she does. Because a bit like me, she's actually got a really small niche, because most of the market do want a traditional wedding dress. Not many of them want what she does. But when she found her people, they really love what she does. And it's been lovely to see that on TikTok when she gets comments under her videos and they are all the ideal person. So again, for her, it's not about huge numbers of thousands of views. If she can even reach 100 people who are just completely obsessed with what she does, that's an incredible result for her. And there were others too, people who grew their accounts, other people that made sales. And really, they're just at the beginning. I mean, we only did this over the summer. They're only just getting started. Some of them have only really just started posting properly since September. So I'm sure we're going to see more success along the way as well. And I don't know about you, Simona, but anytime I'm on TikTok and one of their accounts pops up, it makes me feel really proud. I'm like, yay, they did another video.
Yes, and I feel like a proud mum. I'm like, you're doing so well. I'm gonna comment, repost, share, engage. You got this.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were a lovely community. They worked together, and I'm sure we're going to achieve that again. We've already got a lovely group of people already signed up to the next round of TikTok Pro. So if you do want to join them, I'm going to make sure I put all of the information in the show notes. We've kept it as affordable as we can because we want it to be accessible to everyone. So whether you're part of a bigger venue team, whether it's just you, or even if you're working in the industry but you're business to business, there is 100% information in this program that's going to help you, is going to grow your knowledge of the platform, and it's going to help you reach more of the right people, focus on what matters, which is not the followers necessarily, but also the saves, the likes, the shares, all of the important metrics that we want to share. And hopefully in a few months' time, it'll be your business that we're talking about on one of these episodes and saying what incredible results you've had. So if you want to be part of it, we are starting. The first video is on the 6th of November, 1:30 UK time. But as I said, you can catch it on the recording as well. So head to the show notes and join me and Simona. It's going to be a fun month of November. And by the time the engagement season hits, full on, you will be ready and raring to go. Your content will be standing out if you do the homework and you get on the platform. So if you're feeling afraid, just go for it, as Simona said earlier. And if you've got questions, if you're not sure if it's right for you, reach out to me or reach out to Simona. We'd love to chat to you more about it. Talking of which, Simona, I mustn't let you go without mentioning your new Instagram account. Tell us about that, and TikTok.
So I decided to open up my own Wedding Pro account because now I'm working with Wedding Pros. So it's Simona Wedding Pros, very simple, but it's just me basically sharing the behind the scenes of being a content creator for wedding businesses. And it's something different because it's not anything personal, it's just business and sharing what it's actually like. And I have really enjoyed it because it's like you're starting from zero. So I think everyone who's going to be joining, we're basically going to be growing together. So I think if someone joins and they've got zero, I've only got 20 followers now, so we can grow together and we can keep ourselves accountable. So it's like the perfect time to join.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it's a really good idea that you've set that up, because people were wanting to get to know you better and understanding you better. And actually, it didn't feel right for them to be following your personal accounts. It didn't feel right for you to be talking about wedding businesses on your personal accounts. So this way you can talk about working with me, you can talk about the other content creation you're doing for others in the industry, and you can give some great tips as well. So if you're not yet following Simona's account, I will also link to that in the show notes. Go give her new account a follow on both TikTok and Instagram, and take up her challenge to grow the account alongside her. And then you can get extra brownie points if you beat her numbers. Beat the pro, but remember, she's reaching a small niche like me, and you've got the advantage. Simona, it's been so fun. I absolutely love working with you. I know we've got more projects on the horizon all of the time. I'm sure I've got more exciting things that I'm going to get you to do in the future that we haven't even dreamed up yet. But we will, first of all, do TikTok Pro again in November. So I'm looking forward to getting started with it. Before I let you go, the thing I always ask my guests on the podcast, which you will know because you edit the videos for TikTok all of the time, is what's one thing you personally wish you'd known sooner in business?
It's to trust yourself more and to believe in yourself more. And I think it's something which I am still learning, but I think being around you and being around the right people has really helped me, and it's made me be more confident. And I think I didn't have that before, and I would doubt myself but actually I am quite good at what I do. I just need to back myself up a little bit more.
100%. You're amazing at what you do. You got to believe it, just like most of the people listening as well. And because they're all amazing at what they do, but they also struggle to believe it sometimes. So thank you for being so honest and sharing. Simona, thank you so much for being here. I will see you probably very soon when you come and film some events with me.
Bye.
What a fabulous conversation. I hope you really enjoyed getting to know Simona a little bit better. She's been game-changing in my business. I know you've seen all of my content. Well, now it's time for you to take up the challenge and do that content for yourself. I hope you'll consider joining us for the next round of TikTok Pro in November. Head to the show notes, find all the information, and if you've got questions, just ask. But all I want to say is people are getting on TikTok. If you're not there yet or you don't understand it, don't sleep on it. Now's the time. I'll see you next time.